terms of engaging with the service, one man always stays with me, and it was a story he told that he actually contacted us while he was waiting in the car park while his wife was doing her shopping in Tesco. And what I really liked about it, for him it was a really momentous decision, this really huge thing to do, but in this backdrop of just normal everyday life. And he said he shocked himself and shocked his wife, but it's the first and perhaps the biggest hurdle, is lifting the phone.
I think people find it very difficult to take that first step, in part because of the shame that's associated with sexual abuse.
One of the things abuse does is erode the sense of self and of self-confidence.
We know how hard it is, and when you contact 114, you're going to meet on the telephone somebody who understands what you've been through, somebody who's going to be sensitive and compassionate.
I think it feels like a really big thing to pick up the phone because essentially they are breaking the secret that they've been conditioned to keep since childhood.
But it's the beginning of them taking something back.
So the first voice that someone will hear when they contact is Anne-Marie at reception.
Anne-Marie has been working with us for 15 years now. She really understands how difficult it is to walk in that door.
She's always very welcoming and, always puts them at ease.
Then after that they will meet one of the therapy team.
The initial meeting would happen through phone call or online via Zoom. It's a personal preference. And then, the therapist would take it from there.
The steps to recovery are perhaps first of all to acknowledge what has happened.
Then it's perhaps learning to initially manage and then contain a lot of the impacts of trauma.
Then once somebody comes into therapy, a lot of the work is about putting in place the supports the person needs in their life outside of therapy.
I think people learn to be more accepting of themselves, and how they are. So it's like the abuse becomes smaller,
And it's also about beginning to explore the impact the sexual abuse has had on their lives.
Like I remember a woman in her 50s saying to me so clearly in the room, I never knew I could say no. Just something in her head, she couldn't think she could say no because that child couldn't say no, and if they did say no, they weren't heard.
I think it's absolutely possible to recover from the impacts of child sexual abuse.
People really do move on to live satisfying and healthy lives.
I think 1 in 4 provides a safe place, a place to listen, and maybe puts in some anchors and safety nets along the way.
We have hundreds of testimonies from survivors about how they experienced 1 in 4. People will say that they felt heard and understood.
For some survivors, it would say that, it saved their life,
I think what I see in clients is a change from going from existing in the world to actually living in the world.
Some people say in therapy that they wish that they'd come much sooner or reached out years earlier, but I firmly believe that the time that they disclose is always the right time.
It is never, ever too late to get help.
You can only start your journey from where you stand today.